Welcome back to episode number 56. He is the one and only Van Landon
Yeah.
of HPW, wrestling in Ontario, and coming to North America worldwide. I am the author, Jonathan A. Hacohen, also lawyer, Kormans LLP, real estate and corporate law. And today we're talking wrestling. And Van has agreed to come back because we're talking about one of my favorite subjects. He is the one, the only. Whose house?
Swerve's house.
Whose house?
Swerve's house. And if you're watching, you're seeing me swerving while I'm driving over here. The new champion since the last time I was on the show. Oh, thank goodness. Only a
Oh,
matter of time, but thank goodness.
thank you for getting Hangman Page off my TV. Thank you for getting Samoa Joe not talking anymore. And we got the man, Swerve. He's got all the excitement. Funny how WWE all of a sudden are whooping that trick the same way AEW fans are swerving. Got to be a coincidence there. But Swerve Strickland, he is our champ. And I'm going to start with some pretty hard questions for you because we're going to jump right into it's a big topic.
All
So
right, let's go.
I'm pretty pissed right now, Van, and I'm going to tell you why I'm pissed. Read a couple places. Some of my sources are saying, well, Swerve is a transitional champion, and Swerve's going to be holding the belt for MJF to come back or Will Ospreay. Do you think that's true or is that disrespectful?
Disrespectful. That is not true. If anything, Samoa Joe is the transitional champion to get to Swerve, and there's no other way to look at that. However, however, for anyone thinking that Swerve is a transitional champion, get out of here. For Osprey or for the returning MJF, cool, I'll believe it when I see it. But ain't neither of those two instances happening anytime within 2024. Swerve will end this year as a champion still. That's my claim. Because when you have a champion that's this on fire, that's this hot, you roll with it. And Swerve currently in May 2024 is is a good guy. We love him. And we love Swerve. But we've seen Swerve do some pretty despicable stuff in the past. And whether or not he's holding that AEW title or whether or not he's defending it and he's defending it at all costs, there's no wrestler on the AEW roster that will go to the lengths that Swerve will go. And we've seen it in the past. He's proven it already to hold on to it. And so, good guy, bad guy, Swerve is a champion for a long time.
I like face Swerve a lot more than I like face MGF. Face
Yes.
MJF was really tame and very boring. They were trying to make him Cody Rhodes-ish. And by the way, it's really hard to take this seriously as we have Chris Benoit fighting
Yeah.
Kurt Angle behind you.
Redacted, redacted.
By
There's
the
only
way,
one guy wrestling himself in there.
because last week we had Linda McMahon in a wheelchair catatonic behind you at one point, and I was trying to hold it in from laughing. Now we have Chris Benoit. People, you're not seeing that. That never happened. He doesn't exist. There's
No.
no trace of this whatsoever. So Kurt Angle's wrestling himself. Um, MJF, look, he ran his course, did his job. I like the idea of let's put him away for a while. Let's put away Mrs. Adam Cole, Britt Baker, and let's bring them back with some fresh angles because they are talented. There's a lot we can do with them, but we don't need them right this minute. And I don't see a Swerve MJF right now. It doesn't have to go there. Even the MJF Adam Cole angle is not that exciting to me. Will Ospreay, we still have the novelty of Will Ospreay. We don't have to put the belt on him right now. We have so many different belts we can give him. There's six-man tags and mixed gender belts and international champions and North American champions and this champion FTW and oh Lord, there's Ring of Honor and Strong Champion and NJPW belts and everybody's got a belt. I think that Wheeler Yuta still got a belt as far as I know. So there's so many belts to give this man. Let's just keep Swerve as belt. But I do see potentially him dropping in an instance and quickly getting it right back. They may do one of those. They may swerve on him that way. but I think you're seeing Swerve being built up right now, and there's no reason to take it away from him.
No.
Now the thing was, it's funny. You go to make an agenda and you got a game plan going into a taping. So I prepare this agenda for you, right? And I'm going to ask you a hard question. I'm all set to go. And a couple of days, before the taping, things swerved on me. So my question is going to be to you. We got Swerve, we got Nana, and they're doing their celebrations. Brian Cage kind of comes out like a doofus once in a while. He's grew back his hair and he's wearing a shirt and no signs of the gates of agony. So, kind of what happened in the Mogul Embassy? What's the story there? And lo and behold, they turned on him. The Mogul Embassy turned on him. Ben,
I
why did the Mogul Embassy turn on Swerve? He's their leader.
I really, really need to see where this is going with the Mogul Embassy and now the dismantlement of that group. Swerve and Prince Nana became Mogul affiliates. Or rather, I believe it was Swerve on his own was Mogul affiliates with Parker, with Trench, and it was Prince Nana who had Brian Cage, Toleona, and Bishop Khan and brought Gates of Agony into that group, called them the Embassy, which is, of course, throwback to Ring of Honor. Shout out Jimmy Rave. Uh, form that super group. Where does this leave Prince Nana and Swerve's relationship now that Nana's dogs, Leo, Toleona, Bishop Khan, and Brian Cage, just attacked your boy Swerve the champion? I don't know where this takes them. The Gates of Agassi, the Embassy,
Agony.
whatever they're gonna
Agony.
continue.
So agony.
Yeah, Gates of Agony, the Embassy, whatever they're gonna be going as from here on out. Are they just gonna be whoever is against Swerve? Are they just gonna be the muscle for that person? Are they just against Swerve? Are they gonna get relegated back to Ring of Honor six man? It's an
Are they
interest.
joining the patriarchy?
Are they joining the patriarchy? Is because I mean Christian definitely has room to be a father for all three of those boys. But is that where this is going? They have Kill Switch as the muscle of the patriarchy. You're gonna add three more hunks of meat. I mean, Christian is one to be sly, so I wouldn't put it past him if he wants some extra backup. Or was it just a one-time occurrence? It's going to be interesting to see this one play out. And I'm excited most to see how Prince Nana plays the factor in the dismantlement of it all.
I'm going to tell the Mogul Embassy this much. Okay, Brian Cage and Gates of Agony, I want you to pull up a chair now and I want you to listen because it's story time with Jonathan A. So, what I don't want you to do is don't go branch it on your own completely because you're going to be doing jobber poker games and jobber parties just like in WWE SmackDown. So, do not do that. Um, you only have two choices here. You either are going to join the patriarchy or you're going to have to join the learning tree. And I don't think the learning tree is where you want to be right now, which we'll talk about that in a later episode. I think Christian Cage, the hottest heel. I think this is the only route you're going to go. And as you were talking, I started getting very, very nervous, Van. And I'll tell you why I'm nervous. Because Lord help Prince Nana if he says, well, I'm going to back Brian Cage and I'm going to try to get him to take out Swerve. It's not going to go well for Cage. It's not going to go well for Nana. If I'm Nana, I need to stay with my meal ticket and they need to keep and Nana works with Swerve. There's no reason to break this
Yes.
up. Don't make a heel Nana. Don't keep Swerve out on his own. All of a sudden, what is he going to do? He's going to bring out FTR. Oh, Lord, no. FTR is to help one more person in need. Oh, God. So, but we're going to have to get somebody to help Swerve, right? We're going to need some kind of backing up here. Um, you know, WWE's been dropping guys left, right, and center. You know what? We can take a look at some of their drop lists and maybe we can enlist some of those guys, right?
Very true. it's going to be interesting to see who has Swerve's back. As you did mention, FTR, notorious of having the backs of people when needed be.
Or
But for
sticking their noses where it don't belong.
fair, but Swerve, he's got history with Keith Lee, albeit ending very negative. Does Keith Lee play a role? Does Dustin Rhodes, the natural, play a role? As they sort of all were intertwined at one point or another. But then it was the Mogul Embassy. And for so long, we've known Swerve. He's had his boys underneath him. And you're exactly right. Who evens the odds with Swerve? Because you can't go one versus in the current state 1v3 4 with Mother Wayne and the patriarchy, but you want to add three more dogs in there? One versus 7 or 8? That doesn't work. And as a fan, you can't believably watch Swerve defy those odds. And so it's gonna be interesting to see who shows up. I know Top Doll is available.
He wants to get as far away from that faction as he can, as far away as he can. You go watch some of those COVID moments when he was running the show over there with his group there. No, 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 it's not happening. Keith Lee, I could see as kind of like the fourth guy kind of idea. He's got some, beef. That's fine. Mercedes Monet is doing a heck of a lot of nothing right now, and somebody needs to take a mic away from her immediately because her on her own, my ears are bleeding. But you put her with Nana, and Nana becomes her mouthpiece with Swerve. That legitimizes Swerve and legitimizes Monet. I think we can go that route perhaps. And Parker Bordeaux's available. I'm sure we can dig him up some more. Maybe he's got a few more face tattoos. Like there's people to be had here. But I have a feeling they're not joining the patriarchy. I think this is going to be like one of those business arrangement type deals. But they got Christian Cage's back. Unless Swerve is going to start pulling up Daniel Garcia, FTR, the usual suspects. I think you got to bring out somebody from outside of AEW. I think we need to enlist some WWE newly formed rejects and bring them over.
It definitely needs some fresh faces. You mentioned Daniel Garcia, you mentioned FTR. Yeah, I don't think that them making the save in this scenario is the right move. And even you look at what Christian's been doing, he's made a lot of enemies with a lot of people. I look at somebody like Adam Copeland, who just was off the heels of that. He's busy doing other stuff. He doesn't have time to come save Swerve. Even a guy like Wardlow, perhaps, in
You're
that
reading my
role.
mind. You just read my mind. How did you do that?
Yeah,
How did you do that?
but
We need a ready-made faction, and we got a faction that's doing a heck of a lot of nothing right now. Wardlow,
nothing.
Adam Cole's healthy now, and we got the tag team. Let's bring them out. Why
Ta
not?
Taven and Bennett, the
Yeah.
Kingdom. Let's
The Kingdom makes a business arrangement with Swerve, and they're becoming quasi face, but quasi not. And we need a ready-made faction to go. I'm okay with the Kingdom. We need the Kingdom. Let's bring
and
out the
I'm okay
Kingdom.
with it too. I'm okay with it too. Christian dressed down Wardlow and gave him quite the talking to. Mentioned Wardlow's deceased father. Wardlow has some built-up animosity to take on the patriarchy. Adam Cole, not for nothing. Max is gone. And until he's back, people want to cheer you. People want to say Bebe with you. Stop being Professor X in the wheelchair, rolling out and just getting everybody to boo you. Because the guy that is supposed to be cheered isn't even here. And there's speculation that he's not even coming back here. So
And we
switch.
and we got the international champion or continental champion, whatever that.
Yes, Roderick Strong. The you know
Yes, the Kingdom.
it
The
if
Kingdom's
he
gonna protect Swerve.
if we have all these guys come in, it makes sense because they all have some history against Christian and his crew. If you have to bring them all, if you got to keep Roddy away because he's got his belts, fine. Taven and Bennett, they can lose to Nick Wayne and Kill Switch. Adam Cole and Wardlow, if you have Brian Cage, Kill Switch, and Christian all on one side taking on Swerve, Adam Cole and Wardlow, I mean, that's a money match right there on any given Dynamite or Collision. Not Rampage, though. They wouldn't put Swerve on Rampage.
By the way, do you know how many times I go, okay, I'll admit this now, and I know my producer's gonna be laughing his head off, but I go to watch Collision. Collision's not there. I go to search. Oh, Collision's not on this week. Oh, thanks for letting me know that. Oh, Rampage is not on. Oh, it was on Wednesday afterwards. Oh, they moved it to Saturday. Great. And as I was told, oh, that's a sign of a successful company. Can we just commit to Rampage, please, and give it a proper slot and let it be nurtured? What instead of you can't build loyalty when it's on this week, it's not on this week, it's on a different day. Can they please just make a decision on this? And you know what? There's so many other channels to broadcast this stuff on. You can still have the gate, you can still put it on YouTube, whatever, but to just kill off Collision for no reason, you're kind of losing momentum here. I'm having a hard time defending this.
The Collision one is really rough because yeah, last week. So let's just talk about it. Last week's Collision was preempted for an NBA playoff game. Okay, so that means no Collision this week, guys. Half the roster, who is Collision-based roster members. For one, Mark Sterling being an example of that. Tony Nese, his whole Premier Athletes crew, they're an example. They didn't get to go to work that week, all because of the playoffs. It's
Playoffs.
playoff season. And that game, that preempted Collision, didn't even happen. It was in case of a game 7. And it didn't go to game 7. They closed it in 6. So Collision was canceled. And they aired Star Wars Marathon all day long on, I believe the Collision is TNT, Star Wars Marathon all day long because they had to cancel it for a game that didn't end up happening. And the show, and there was no episode that was recorded and put onto YouTube. There's no way to watch it. There's just no episode that week. What are we doing? You're so right. There's so many other channels.
There's
Put it on
900 channels.
TBS.
You own more than one channel. Put it on a different channel.
Warner Brothers Discovery. What are we doing?
Put it on the Geography Network. Put it on Living Network. Put it on Home and Garden. Whatever you got to put it on. I don't care. Give me my Collision. What is wrong with you?
Preempt Mythbusters for one weekend and put it on their time slot. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And exactly, you go from live entertainment, Collision, it's a live sport, to pre-recorded documentaries about whales. Yeah, just move it. If the playoffs are going to be a factor, which they are every year and have been, even regular seasons games have been a problem, especially in the early days for AEW. But you know it's happening. NHL and NBA, they wrap up at the same time. And NBA, NHL are on TBS and TNT. You're gonna have issues. You guys have had what, 5, 6 years now of being in business. You could try to figure this out.
We're not going to have this issue when AW is going to be on Amazon Prime, and it's going to happen. So mark my words on that one too. Swerve Strickland. We love him. We respect him. Let's be honest though. If he doesn't have that song and he doesn't have that dance and he doesn't do the rounds on the media tour with his music blowing up and the dance blowing up, I don't think he's champion right now. And you know what? I don't care. How about that?
Really?
I don't care. It's fine.
Really?
If he doesn't have the dance in the song, he's not champ today. I'm not saying he wouldn't be in the future, but that momentum definitely carried him over the top, took him from a mid-carder to a top-level draw because he was on all the shows through the States, and he's getting so much demand from the media, getting his due, and then finally people taking notice of him, and that broke him through. He's a talented wrestler. He paid his dues, but sometimes you need a little luck, and sometimes you need a good gimmick and a good shtick, and that worked for him, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. Look at Cody with his story. Like, I had to listen to the story thing for a year, and that worked. So if Cody's got a stupid story, I would say a man who actually has talent and can play a freaking video and sing a proper song and have a good dance to it and get the whole crowd going. That's I'll take the Swerve dance over the Cody Rhodes freaking chant any day of the week.
I definitely see the comparisons there, and especially going off of Swerve when he joined AEW, he had this song. He had the same song. He didn't have Prince Nana dancing, and not a lot of fans realized how good of a tune it was. If you were on the ground floor and you knew early, you knew what was up with Swerve. But then you got Prince Nana dancing, and now the whole crowd's dancing, and now the whole crowd's singing the song as it wraps him to the ring. It was a lot of things falling into the right place at the right time with Prince Nana, with the song getting over, with the dancing getting over. Swerve's in-ring ability by far was almost unmatched with a lot of what he was doing inside the ring, with the Hangman Page feud and everything that led up to that, obviously, was his sort of crescendo into that main event stratosphere. Um, and it was the World's End crazy match where they're drinking each other's blood and stuff like that. That was his Illuminati moment of getting to the heavyweight division, so to speak. But for Swerve now, I mean, wrestling is a lot of right place, right time, and Swerve has done a lot of things right to be exactly where he is right now, and he's earned it.
I would bet you this was not a dance coordinator, producer who created the Prince Nana dance. It was Prince Nana's creation. He did it on a fluke. It just took. And he's like, he had to go back and watch it, remember what moves he did. And because I remember watching it, I remember when he did it in its infancy, and it was a very rough form of what he was doing.
Yes,
And
it
now it's more
was.
exaggerated. But you know what? If I'm Swerve, I'm going down to the Rolex store and I'm buying Prince Nana a Rolex and I'm engraving. I was like, thank you so much. Love, Swerve, and handing Prince Nana a Rolex because Prince Nana is a genius. The way he put it together and the way he's the mouthpiece. And you know what? They helped each other. And let's do more with Prince Nana. Let's have now he dumped the baggage of the Mogul Embassy. Let's give him some more Swerve type guys and let him build up some more guys. And let's build a nice new faction for Swerve. And maybe, you know what? Maybe Prince Nana can manage the kingdom. How about that? And not have to listen to Adam Cole anymore. And then they'll go into the tutelage of Prince Nana and he could do a lot more with them. So, Prince Nana, Kingdom, how about that?
Hey, we could see them win back those Ring of Honor tag titles.
The coveted belts, coveted belts. By the way, why does AW not have a women's tag team belt?
Uh, I have wanted that for so long now because in 2020, Britt Baker and Rebel would have been your women's tag team champions, probably your inaugural. And then if it wasn't Britt and Rebel doing it, it would have been Britt and Jamie Hayter doing it. So, I mean, I want women's tag titles so much. Give us more women's matches on the show. Obviously, there's a lot of rumor and speculation that it's the parent company that has restricted it to only one match on the Dynamite shows, and that's how come on other shows you do get more. But I mean, what are we doing here? The women's division is so strong,
It's
and
2024. Come on.
yeah,
And you got six-man tag team belts. If you could have six-man tag team belts, have women's tag team belts. Come on. And they just unified
two,
those six-man tag team belts. Thank God. I was hoping that was going to
one,
happen.
yeah.
Are we ever gonna see an AW mixed gender belts?
That one is one that I
Um,
doubt, only because the lack thereof mixed gender. In the early days of AEW, we saw a mixed gender match take place. I believe it was Kenny Omega and Riho versus Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford on the Jericho Cruise. And I don't even believe that match technically aired on television. I believe it just happened in part of AEW and counted towards the records, but I don't think it ever aired. And I think that may be one of, if not the only intergender matches, other than I think Adam and Britt did one at one point together. Uh, but it's just so few and far between. They don't do enough mixed tags. There's so much potential for it to happen. I want to bring up your point from earlier for everyone listening. Mercedes Moné and Swerve. Picture them, AEW World Champion, TBS Champion, and now there's a mixed tag title that they could just win for extra added clout to establish them however they need to be established. It's all I wish that they would do something like that. It would be fun. The WWE, of course, did the mixed match challenge, which was a tournament of mixed tags, which didn't lead to belts. It just led to a trophy, but it's all fun. It's fun. You get some interesting dynamics in that aspect, but I would love to see it.
Imagine a real life couple of Mercedes Monet and Swerve Strickland. That'd be a lot of fun because now, over in NXT, they have the champion Trick Williams and he's with Lash Legend and they are in real life dating too. Mhm. So it's funny how that kind of comes to be. So maybe we're going to play matchmaker here and see how that goes. Uh,
Wrestlers love dating each other.
well, they kind of spend a little bit of time together. So it kind of makes sense when you're in that much room. You're like, hey, we could be together, you know? That's it. Oh, if I was a wrestler, all I'd ever say is, "Hey, I heard the hotel ran out of rooms, but you know what? I got a room here, but oh, it's only one bed."
Hey, how about we split the rental car and yeah, one hotel room's fine. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it
And then you
adds
go to
up.
check in, and they're like, "Oh, how many rooms do you have? Oh, we have as many as you need. Okay, just give me the one with the one bed. That's it." So that's the way you do it. Yeah. They sold out. They only had the one bed. I'm sorry to say. So maybe that's how it came for Trick Williams. We'll never know.
We'll
Now
never know.
on that note with NXT, as we're ending today's episode, I asked you a difficult question. Now,
Oh,
when we're reflecting now as WWE, and we're in the new era. We're in the Triple H era now, right? We're not in the Attitude Era. We're in the Triple H, we're all inclusive and we're all proper and no more shenanigans of any kind. So this is now the era we're in. But we're reflecting back. We reflect back to the ones that got away from us. And as I reflect on that, I think to myself, wow, the AEW champion Swerve Strickland. I had him. I threw him to the garbage. Hmm. Did I screw up on that one? You think Triple H looks back on Swerve now and says, "Damn, I wish I could have done something"? Because I bet you, if I was a betting man, that wasn't Triple H's decision at the time to even let go of Swerve. I bet you it was up to him. He would have kept Swerve, but the powers to be at the time were killing off NXT, made NXT 2.0. Triple H has a heart attack, by the way, if you recall that, with all the stress that happened there. And you don't think Triple H is freaking forgotten about that. But I don't think he was probably too happy when he lost Swerve. And look, Top Dollar and them may have actually done something if Swerve had stayed. But from a WWE standpoint, yeah, we took Cody Rhodes from you, we took MJF, but you kept Swerve. If WWE could go back, would they have kept him? And what would they have done with him?
100%. If Triple H was in charge, Swerve would have never been let go. I stand by that. I think Swerve was one of those guys that Triple H saw the potential in. He knew how good he was. He knew the crossover appeal. He knew the mainstream credibility that Swerve brings because he is the realist. But that I remember that whole release time. It was so jarring. You had people like Keith Lee, Swerve, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, just names that were often sort of connected to Triple H in saying that they were Triple H guys, especially in the black and gold era of NXT.
The
That
golden
was
years. The golden years.
the best. That was Triple H's playpen. That was Triple H's AEW to Tony Khan. And so he was bringing in whoever he wanted. He had guys like Regal scouting and finding the best of the best. And for the most part, H got what he wanted. But then all this stuff happens, and then all of these cuts, and whether it came from Mark Carrano or Bruce Pritchard or whoever it was that, had to make all those firings, it was likely a call that never crossed Triple H's radar. And why I believe that is because once Triple H did get the power back, look at how many of those guys came back. Gargano, Bronson, Dexter Loomis, Chelsea Green,
Big Bronson.
Big Bronson. I love me some Big Bronson. But yeah, he brought them all back. And the ones who he didn't bring back, the ones that AEW snatched up. And so, I mean, contracts are contracts, and we will see what happens when time runs out on these contracts. But with Swerve, with the placement that he's had, with the trust, the creativity, the creative freedom that he has at AEW, it wouldn't surprise me if he locks in to AEW and doesn't ever go back. But I know Triple H in a heartbeat would bring him back.
It's funny though, NXT worked really well when you scouted out and brought the best from the indie scene, not trying to scout in US colleges and trying to take football players and basketball players and pole vaulters and all these college athletes and turn them into wrestlers. When you actually took people who breathe, sleep, eat wrestling, have done it for a decade at least, and in many cases, and you bring them in and they're NXT and then you refine them, but they already come in with a wrestling pedigree. Hmm. So maybe we can, because I still watch NXT and I think to myself, great, they won a freaking gold medal. They competed in the Olympics in whatever event they did. That's not freaking wrestling. Stop trying to turn a baker into a firefighter and stop trying to turn a doctor into a gardener. Let's bring a wrestler to wrestle. What a concept.
I would love it if they started bringing back in the wrestlers to wrestle. It would give me my fair shot again. Otherwise, I got to go play NCAA college football in the US to get my fair look.
Funny that works out. And Swerve, let's give the man his due. I mean, he came from so I did a little research on him before and came from a military family, traveled around a lot, which, when you grow up in a military family, you have a lot of discipline. And Swerve certainly paid his dues. He traveled the world, did what he needed to do, wrestled anywhere and everywhere. And there's a reason why he earned it. He cut his, stripes out there. And for those indie wrestlers out there watching, and Van is one of them. And you watch Swerve, and it goes to show you Swerve was there with you not that long ago. So you put in the hard work, you get some luck, and things can happen.
It's always the opportunities and how you react to them. Make the most of it.
Speaking of opportunities, we'll be back next week on here on Professional Wrestling because we got to look at some AEW wrestlers that are slightly broken, and we're going to try to fix them for Tony Khan. How does that sound?
Sounds like a lot of fun.
That's Van Landon of HPW, Ontario Wrestling, and Jonathan Hacohen. We'll see y'all back real soon on Professional Wrestling, the podcast.